to bake the cake. I can't stand it when, that sort of thing happens. However, YouTube is a private entity, and they, even though they're giving you the guise of everyone has free speech, completely say what you want, no, they don't. As a matter of fact, they really crank down on your free speech rights in terms of it's their place. They can't do that. The thing that's irritating is that they give you this illusion that, hey, everybody can come and say what you want as long as you're not being nasty and you follow exactly our rules, which are so vague no one can actually follow the rules, and we'll call harassment whatever we feel is harassment, even if it's not harassment. But we'll call it that, and then we'll destroy your channel or we'll delete your channel. Let me start by saying they actually have the right to do that. I don't like some of the policies, but they have the right to do that. Now, that said, where are we at? Okay, I want to read a chunk of this. This is from the YouTube official blog. It came out on Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. They skim here, I'm going to skim. They're saying, hey, we're changing the community guidelines. We don't like how much harassment's going on from the conservatives. They're not saying that. But if you know anything about what's been going on, look at the Crowder channel, Steven Crowder, and you can easily see a very illustrative example of what's going on in terms of he's a comedian who does political stuff and satire, and he skates on a lot of people's tender feelings and emotions, and they've screamed out loud and YouTube has responded. And he's just one of many examples. But it's going to have a ripple effect to all of YouTube. And so what does that mean? I'm reading right here, it says a stronger stance against attacks and personal threats. They've always had this thing where, you're not supposed to attack anybody, but they still do it. And now it says this includes simulated violence toward another individual or language suggesting physical violence may occur. No individual can be subject to harassment or violence. Now, I agree with that. I really do. The problem is in their application. It's vague to the point where they can just say what they want about any given situation and say, well, you know what, you should have not threatened this or that. And you may or may not have done that, but it's based on whatever they feel. And if you go and read, if you go and look it up, their content for hate speech policy is so vague that, it's basically whatever they want. And honestly, basically whatever they want. And so here, demeaning language. Okay, beyond threatening someone, there's also demeaning language that goes too far. Well, who defines what is too far? Who defines what is demeaning language? Well, apparently YouTube does. So that means that no comedian, basically, every comedian on the face of the earth is now out of a job in terms of having anything to do on YouTube. I mean, think about it. Even the left-leaning comedians, they still pick on people. They still are demeaning toward politicians, including like Trump and anybody on Ted Cruz and all these guys. They pick on them, they demean them, but are they going to be harmed by this, or are they going to just we'll just do look the other way? Well, we'll see. But so far, that's been the case. Time and time again, they crank down on the conservative and the right, and they let all this other nonsense skate through. Well, maybe they will do the right thing and it'll be equal across the board, but that's not what's happened in actuality. So, continuing on. To establish a consistent criteria for what type of content is not allowed on YouTube, we're building upon the framework we use for our hate speech policy. We will no longer content that maliciously insults someone based on protected protected attribute. Should I start a protected status for chubby guys? Hey, I'm a chubby white guy. Don't pick on me. You can't pick on me because I'm a chubby white guy. And now YouTube will adhere to that? Probably not. Ooh, here, let's go one more. I'm a chubby white guy. Ooh. We're not going to go there, but hey, you know what? All lives matter. Why is that controversial? Why is that a horrible thing to say? Hey, I've got friends of all colors, all ethnicities, even both genders. Yes, there are only two genders, and that's probably hate speech. That's probably considered hate speech. Even though it's completely common sense and biological, that's a whole other story. So, they define what hate speech is, right? And again, it's their platform. They can do whatever they want with it, but the problem is they've made it so vague, no one can adhere to it. Okay, this applies to everyone from private individuals to YouTube creators to public officials. This is where I really am going, all right, head scratcher. Like I said before, is this only going to be for, you can't pick on people like Nancy Pelosi, you can't pick on people like the former president, you know, I hesitate to say his name because the video will get flagged. Not the current president, but the former president. Are you allowed to say, hey, Joe Biden is a complete clown, and look at his newest gaffe? Look at this. That would be considered hate speech if they like him. If they like him, if they're like, yeah, he's our guy, he's going to be our candidate, then you can't say that about him, and all critique of anybody they like is completely off limits. I want to say that again. If you go after somebody and tease them, make fun of them, point out how stupid they said something, blah, blah, blah. Anybody, pick a side, right side, left side, doesn't matter. But if they like that person, then you're going to get in trouble. You will stand to lose your money, content, and your channel. And so here, that goes to this. Consequences for a pattern of harassing behavior. Something we have heard from our creators is that harassment sometimes takes the shape of a pattern of repeated behavior across multiple videos or comments. And to address this, we're tightening our policy for YouTube partner program. Money. Okay, that's what that means. To get even tougher on those who engage in harassing behavior, don't forget this is whatever they define as harassing behavior, which is also completely vague. Channels that repeatedly brush up against our harassment policy will be suspended, eliminating their ability to make money on YouTube. Okay. Again, their policy, it's their, it's their playground. You got to follow their rules. But I want to follow their rules. But what are their rules? How do I know that I'm not going to break the rules? I mean, could I? Here's a theoretical thing. Could I say, against a presidential candidate? Can I say, oh my gosh, that presidential candidate's policy is complete buffoonery, will never work, the money's not there, it's a lie, you're being lied to. Can I say that? As long as it's their guy or girl, then fine, right? But if it's not free speech, gone. And you get in trouble. Addressing toxic comments. Toxic comments. What's a toxic comment? You know, when I grew up as a kid, anybody could say anything about anybody, and you know what? Sticks and stones can break my bones, never hurt me. It used to actually be a real thing. Now, it looks like you're going to be, shackled with the loss of financial, ability. You're going to have all kinds of problems in the workforce. Wow. Addressing toxic comments. To combat this, we remove comments that clearly violate our policies. over 16 million in the third quarter of this year, specifically due to that. Now, again, do I think it's a good idea to pick on people? No.